Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. Let's begin. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Fa'awzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an wa amalan mutaqabbalan wa rizqan tayyiba. اللهم اهدي قلبي وسدد لساني واستر سخيمة قلبي آمين يا رب العالمين. Let's review previous lesson, which was ayah number 96 to 99 of Surah Ale-Imran, and then we will move to the lesson for today. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ayah number 96. إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا. Surely the first house of worship established for the humanity is the one at Mecca, the one established which is in Mecca. Right here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that the first house ever established for worship, or the first center or direction of worship for mankind, was indeed the Kaaba. Why is this again presented? Because the Ahlul Kitab, the Bani Israel, they had an objection that why is because previously, before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or in fact in the middle of his life, right, for a good portion of his life, the Qibla was in the direction of Jerusalem, Bayt al-Maqdis, or you could say Masjid al-Aqsa. So during his lifetime, the Kaaba, the Qibla was changed. The direction of prayer for the believers was changed to the Kaaba. So the Bani Israel, they had an objection that why is this being changed to the Kaaba? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them that indeed the first direction or the house of worship of Allah was Bakkata, which is in Mecca. Okay, Bakka is another name for Mecca, and the word Bakka was used, as we did previously as well, was because this word appears to be familiar to the Bani Israel. There in their books, the word for Mecca was Bakka. So it is being reminded that this word is mentioned the name of the place. It's mentioned in your books as well. And Bakka also literally means a place of gathering, a place where there is a lot of crowd. And as we can see, Mecca, and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he flourished and established this place, and to this day millions of people, there's no place on the earth which is that where people come together as much as they do near the Kaaba. And we did about the history of the Kaaba and its building, that the first time the foundations were laid of the Kaaba in the world were 2000 years prior to Adam alayhi salam coming to the earth. So 2000 years prior to that, angels were the ones who first laid the foundation, basically where the Kaaba would be. And this is literally adjacent, or it's directly under Baytul Ma'mur, which is basically a, a version of the Kaaba in the heavens. So there is a version of the Kaaba in the heavens where the angels perform tawaf, and right under that on the earth is the location of the Kaaba that we know. And the foundations were laid by the angels. Then Adam alayhi salam himself, he strengthened them. Then at the times of the flood of Noah alayhi salam, it was you know how the earth was completely, this was wiped out. And then again by different prophets, this was the foundations were laid, including Ibrahim alayhi salam. He actually laid the solid foundations of the Kaaba, and he built with his son Ismail alayhi salam, laid the solid foundation of the Kaaba. and and after that, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quraysh did that, and Prophet sallallahu, and then different Sahabis after that, and up till the Ottoman Empire, and this. So the Kaaba kept, and thing its foundation kept weakening because of floods, and so different Muslim empires and stuff, they strengthened it as we see the Kaaba today. Okay, so this was established for people, and wahudal lil alamin, for the mankind, for everyone. So this is not just for Muslim. The Bani Israel used to say the Kaaba is only for the Arabs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the Kaaba is not just for the Arabs, it is for the hudal lil alamin, it is for the entire mankind. The people who go there, it is a source of guidance for every person that visits there. فيه آيات بينات. So in that are clear signs, a clear ayat. What are those? مقام إبراهيم. That is the place of standing of Ibrahim alayhi salam, where he stood as he was placing this at the foundation of the Kaaba. And as we know that this still exists to this day, the Maqamu Ibrahim, it is encaged in a structure, in a gold glass structure, and you can see the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam there. And again, the one who sincerely works for Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He preserves their work, and He preserves their sign. And to this day, the one who performs Umrah, one of the sunnah is to go and pray behind Maqam Ibrahim. Okay, after the tawaf. وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. So whoever enters this place is safe, is secure. Okay, is secure from for many things. Firstly, physically, in the haram, in the Kaaba and its adjacent area. Okay, and some scholars say the entire Makkah. Okay, it's called the haram. Basically, haram comes from haram. So basically, some things are haram there. It's haram to hurt anyone, to sacrifice, to cut, to even pluck any vegetation from there. So the person is physically secure, and aminan, meaning their iman also becomes, the one who truly seeks their iman also becomes secure. How many people become guided from this place? Okay, and there's a person definitely feels security in this place, because not only the human beings are making tawaf, the angels on the earth are also making tawaf around the Kaaba. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ. And for human beings, for the people, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He legislated the Hajj, to a near Hajj that will take place in this place, right? Meaning Hajj cannot take place in any other place. So what is special about this city, about the Kaaba, about the Haram, is that Hajj can only take place here. No one can go anywhere else to perform the Hajj. Okay, and istata'a ilayhi sabila. Whoever has the means to easily perform the Hajj, meaning istata'a in terms of physical ability, physically to be able to do so, and to be financially be able to travel, cover the expenses, and to be able to do Hajj. So whoever has the istata'a should do it, meaning physically able to do so, and also financially as well. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And whoever disbelieves, here the kafara includes the person who does not want to do it, who does not want to perform Hajj, despite having the ability, despite having the resources, physical and financial ability, and still does not do it because of whatsoever reasons, because of laziness, because of being occupied with the world, because of their own interpretations and things like that, misguidance whatsoever. or who doesn't deem is important. It is a pillar of Islam, end of the day, right? And whoever is able to, they should, and everyone should have a desire to do that. Okay, because if they don't, وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of people. He is self-sufficient. He is al-ghani. He is not in need of his creation. So a person does actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. You do good, you do for yourself. It's not for Allah, right? So this place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put so much barakah, where Ibrahim alayhi salam, his efforts, his entire family's effort, where there's signs, maqam Ibrahim, the black stones from the heavens, Zamzam, Safa, Marwa, all of these signs are there. This is a place a person should go. And when a person goes there, they want to go again and again, right? And this is why, again, Hajj itself, it's not just a physical journey, it is a journey of a person's soul, it's a journey of a person's life. It reminds a person, it gives perspective to a person's life. What is, and it is a very, very small example of how people will be gathered on the day of judgment, right? And people, how people will be focused in front of Allah and truly for the sake of Allah. And even when people are on Hajj, they're not concerned about what's happening to them. They're more concerned about completing the Hajj. Similarly, on the day of judgment, people are concerned about their result. They don't care about the heat or what it's going to be or who is next to them. And same as in the Hajj, a sincere person, a believer does not care about who is here and there. And this really puts, it's a very, very minuscule version of what would happen in the afterlife, right? And again, Hajj is also the one who completes the Hajj with sincerity and is accepted by Allah. They return as, or after completion of Hajj, they're as a newborn, completely free of sins. Okay. Allah subhanahu, and ayah number 98, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ لِمَا تَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. Say, O Prophet, O people of the book, why do you deny the revelations of Allah? Wallahu shahidun ala ma ta'malun. And when Allah is witness of what you do. Why do you reject the hukum of Allah of going to Baytullah? Why do you reject the ayah? Why do you reject the revelation that the Kaaba is the first place of worship? And again, it's Allah, whatever Allah legislates, that, and what is the command of Allah? The human feelings and human desires are, or wishes are, negligible when it comes to the command of Allah. So here, if you claim to, Ahlul Kitab, or like, this is, we're the chosen people. Well, if you're the chosen people, then you have to follow the command of Allah. And the command of Allah is to follow the Kaaba, to follow the Prophet. Because you hear Allah subhanahu saying that while Allah is the witness of what you do, meaning Allah knows your actions, Allah knows what's in your heart, Allah knows why you say what you say, right? So follow, if you're really truthful, if you really claim to be what you are, then follow what Allah has commanded. Ayah number 99, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ. Say, O people of the book, لِمَا تَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Why do you turn the believers away from the way of Allah? So why do you create ways to turn people away from the path of Allah? Man amana, and whoever, those who, and those who want to believe, tabghunaha iwaja, you make it appear to be crooked, meaning you make the deen itself is clear and upright and correct, but you distort the deen, or you represent yourself in such a way that you're trying to make it seem crooked to people. You're trying to create doubts in the hearts of people. وَأَنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءُ, while you're witness to its truth. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unaware of what you do. Meaning, what is this ayah telling us? That The people who know, who are aware of the truth, they should accept the truth and bring it into their actions. Because the one who believes, it's evident through their actions, it's evident through their behavior, the way they live their life. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, what the Ahlul Kitab would do is that through their tongues, through the firstly through their actions, they were not following. So people before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people held the Ahlul Kitab at high regards. The Yahud and Nasara they put them on a pedestal. The Quraysh, the Arabs, they did that because they thought these are knowledgeable people. So when they saw that these people are not the ones believing, it created doubts in the hearts of some people because of their actions, and through their tongues they would say certain things. We'll follow in the previous ayat, they would say let's follow the deen, and then let's become believer, and then next day become a disbeliever, things like that. And they would criticize the way of the prophet, like for example the previous ayah about how is the Baytullah, how is the Qibla changed, why is, or the ayahs before that, we discussed how they would say, why is the prophet making certain things which are haram, like things of eating that he is making haram, that halal which were haram, they were not haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made them halal, right? So for example, saying these things, they would make things, try to create doubts in the hearts of people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is Allah is not unaware of what you do, meaning Allah knows the kind of planning and plotting that people to this day do to turn away the believers from the right path. Look at the kind of propaganda that is there, even nowadays, for the believers and for the Muslims, just to turn and misguide people, and misguide not just the disbelievers or the non-Muslims, but also misguide the Muslims. Even the people start doubting, am I following the right religion? Maybe I should look into something else. Yeah, if this could be this too. So there are literally people and projects and website and so many ways now that are dedicated to just misguide people from the right path. Number 100. This is today's ayat. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تطيعوا فريقا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب. O believers, if you were to yield to a group of those who were given the scripture, يردونكم بعد إيمانكم كافرين. They would turn you back from belief to disbelief. So meaning, oh believers are here. Before previous ayat were Ya Ahlul Kitab. Here the believers are being addressed. There Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if you were to follow a group of those who were given the book, meaning the Ahlul Kitab, and their actions, then after having Iman, they would turn you to disbelief. Meaning you're on the straight path, you fixed yourself, and then slowly they bring you back to disbelief. And sometimes with propaganda, sometimes with doubts, sometimes through mockery, sometimes through creating systems in which a person is systems in which a person becomes part of, not even consciously but unconsciously. Like for example, the whole riba system, the immodesty, the fahisha, the things that we open our phones and the ads that come, this kind of things that even if you don't want to, it's in front of you, it's there. So they make many haram things that are, and make them appear halal and very intriguing for people, very capturing for people, for the youth. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, don't follow these people. And from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said there will be a time when you follow the Ahlul Kitab. The people will follow Ahlul Kitab so much so, cubit by cubit, meaning inch by inch, so much so that if they were to enter a lizard hole, you will enter behind them too. Right? And this specific ayah has a context in the times of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So a bit of history regarding this ayah is that So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, there were two. So the people of Medina are called the Ansar, right? The people who migrated from Mecca to Medina are called the Muhajirin, right? Those who did Hijrah, and the people of Medina are called the Ansar. Among the Ansar, they were divided into two groups, other than of course the Yahud also living there. Among the Arabs of the Medina, right, the Ansar, they were two groups, Aus and Khazraj. They were two tribes. Okay, basically Aus and Khazraj, they were children of one family, but because there was some family feud, and one killed another, so there was an enmity between. So basically they became divided, and there was an enmity. There was a fight between them, which lasted almost 120 years. What used to happen between these groups and among them? So you think of the demographic of Medina. So they are the Arabs, the Ansar, and the two groups of Ansar are Aus and Khazraj, and then you have the Yahud also living there. Okay, and the Muhajirin, the Prophet ﷺ would bringing people from, and his companions from Makkah, they're also coming to Medina. So now you have all these groups living. So what happened was that um, the, before they came, the Aus and the Khazraj, they were at fight, and they used to buy weapons from the Yahud and used against each other. So nothing could stop them, the kind of enmity they have, except when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina and gave them the message of Islam. So because of the blessing of Islam, they let go of their enmity towards each other, and they established brotherhood. And now, because now they're together, they're one, this was harmful for the Yahud because, firstly, their weapons are not being sold. And secondly, because when they came together, two groups are easy to control and not much of a danger. And when they came together, they became more strengthened. So now the Yahud were facing financial loss and also intimidation in terms of the strength of the Ansar. So the Yahud were adamant that somehow they want to reignite the enmity between the Aus and the Khazraj. So what they did was they started to remind them of their past, the incident of their past, the poetry of their enmity, so they can start remembering about their past and reignite the hatred. So how did this happen? Once the Aus and the Khazraj, people among them were sitting, and an older Yahudi, he could not bear to see them united. He told a younger person to enter the gathering and mention the incidents of their battle, one of the famous battle called Boath, which took place between the Aus and Khazraj, like something from the past. So after listening to that, again they started igniting the conflict among them. They started to remember, oh my God, this, they used to do this to us, and they did this to our forefathers, and so they started igniting hatred and anger among them. And they were thinking, maybe we should start the war again and bring our weapons, and they even decided a place where they would fight. So it went to that point. And here, imagine a group is sitting who were united, who were together because of the deen. The deen removed the enmity, and now they're back to fighting again. And this is how shaitan works. Everything that they had worked towards the friendship was going down the drain. And some human beings are also, we learn from this incident, and some people are also like shaitan. They try to ignite fire, fuel fire among people. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard about this incident. He took the muhajirin, and he told them, will you go into and you act at like the times of ignorance in my presence? Allah guided your hearts towards Islam, and Allah had guided your hearts towards Islam, and is this what you're going to do? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made them realize that this the trap that they're getting into. And slowly they all started to accept their mistake and started going back. So what we learn from this is, even in our lives, is that if there is any conflict in a person between two people, and any negativity, and a person has let go for the sake of Allah, a person has forgiven, do not remind yourself again about the past. If you have forgiven someone, let it be, because reminding of the past opens uh, wounds, and it reignites the hatred. And do not be of those who does that among people, that people, two people have, a person has let go, and then a third person comes, how come you're friends with this person again? Don't you remember what they did with you? So this is reigniting. This is, again, this is an act of shaitan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, do not be, you know oh believers, this is, and this thing is for the believers. He's like, then if you were to yield to a group of those, if you follow these, the Ahlul Kitab, from your belief you'll become to disbelief, meaning being united you'll become disunited. You let go of your things for the sake of Allah, and now you're bringing it back again. Ayah number 100. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in tuti'u fariqan min alladhina utul kitab. So sorry, this is ayah number 100. And then the same ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also telling us that Iblis, if you follow them, Iblis tries to create bad assumptions among people. Shaitan does that. And this is so common in family members too. And it is also very common, especially in the work of deen, because this is the most sincere gathering, when people gather for the sake of Allah, because there is no other worldly benefit attached to it. So, and this is why we see, people think of, if people are, if something is, why are people divided in Islamic, this thing, in realms and stuff like that? Because of this, because Shaitan's attack is most, and he wants to create bad assumptions among people, so that his control is easier on people. Just like the Yahud were doing. There some representative shaitan on the earth, and and among everyone. So so stay away from people who try to create such, and do not be among those people. Okay. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, um whoever fights under the banner of one who is blind, that is fighting for tribalism, nationalism, or ignorance, on, or getting angry for tribalism, or calling each other to kill for the sake of these things, and if he dies a death of ignorance. So meaning, having my family, my this, these things, these things are not basis for argument and fighting among believers. Okay. During Hajjatul Wida, the farewell Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Indeed, your blood, your wealth, and your honor are sacred to you, like the sanctity of this day of yours, in this month of yours, in the city of yours." So just like how, and this was done on the day of Arafah. So he's saying, just like how this day is so sacred, this month Zulhijjah is so sacred, the city is so sacred, this is how much you're sacred, your blood, your wealth, and your honor is. So do not try to spill blood or take wealth or honor of another person. Ayah 101. وَكَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ, and how can you disbelieve? How is it even possible? This is kaifa is a way of representing shock or amazement or surprise. وَكَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ, how could you disbelieve? وَأَنْتُمْ تُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتُ اللَّهِ, while Allah's revelations are recited to you, and وَفِيكُمْ رَسُولُهُ, and his messengers in your midst, in among you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would recite the ayat, he would be among the people. And the Prophet, he used to recite, in what occasions he used to recite the ayat? During the salah, in his learning majalis, in the gatherings of learning, during Jum'ah, or whenever there was a need. So, and imagine that when ayat are being recited, even nowadays, if you listen to a good recitation, what does it do to the heart? It really shakes the heart, it melts the heart. Person becomes in awe of the recitation. So imagine when Rasulullah, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reciting the ayat. How mesmerizing, day and night. So in his presence, which is full of barakah, and he was not just writing, he was among people. وَفِيكُمْ رَسُولُهُ. He was among the people, and he was present in the salah, in all the five prayers, in the majalis of, in the gatherings of knowledge in Masjid Nabawi. When when someone would fall sick, he would be there. He would go visit them at the janaza, in any good or bad, he was among the people. So when these two things are happening, meaning when the Quran is there and the company of the Rasul is there, how can a person disbelieve? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, it's almost like an eye of amazement. Like this cannot be even possible. What we learn from this ayah is also that to be strong in one's iman, two things are required. وَأَنْتُمْ تُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتُ اللَّهِ. First, Quran. Learning the Quran, recitation of the Quran, and understanding of the Quran. And number two, Sahibul Quran, people of the Quran, righteous gathering, righteous friendship. Because in this ayah, tutla alaykum ayatullahi, that's number one, when ayahs of Allah recited to you all, and wafikum rasuluhu, meaning presence of Rasul. And in our context, righteous person. That those are two things. So how can sometimes we falter, sometimes you see our iman is going weak. Why don't I feel like praying? Why do I feel negative? Why don't I feel like going? Because two things are missing, or either one of them are missing. Either the Quran learning is missing from the life, or learning includes memory, recitation, listening to it, understanding it, okay, and applying the commands. All of these things come in the Quran. And then righteous gatherings, being surrounded by people who are of the Quran. You do not go, or you don't physically make the attempt to physically be among such people. And that's where the iman. So if a person wants to strengthen their iman, these two things are required: understanding of the Quran, and then people of the Quran. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَمَن يَعْتَصِم بِاللَّهِ, and whoever holds firmly to Allah, فَقَدْ هُدِيَ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ, then that person is surely guided to the straight path. Hold firmly, meaning يَعْتَصِم بِاللَّهِ, you can't physically hold Allah, of course. So here, what is the holding on to Allah, meaning holding on to the Quran? Okay, then that person is guided to the straight path. Okay, and also going back to the previous ayahs, when there is enmity between people, when things, how do people resolve matters among each other? How is that even possible? Only if a person turns back to Allah. Because turning resolving conflicts is not in the hands of people. Sometimes, people are so full of vengeance and revenge that no kind of talk actually convinces them. The only way a person can let go is when they leave things for the sake of Allah, right? Because what happens is, a person thinks, I am right, how could I even, I need to teach this person a lesson. And from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he said, I guarantee a house on the outskirts of paradise, and a house in the middle of paradise, and a house in the highest part of the paradise for the one who gives up arguing, even if he is right. So even if a person is right and they give up fight, then what is the reward for them? Jannah. When a person thinks of that, then then only they can let go, even when the other person is wrong and you're on the right. Okay, so here what are we learning? Then when you hold on to وَمَن يَعْتَصِم بِاللَّهِ, when you hold on to Allah, meaning the Quran, meaning the under teachings of the Quran and His Rasul, okay, that person is guided to the straight path. When you have a bigger goal in life, when you can see beyond, you let go of smaller conflicts of life. These ayat are also teaching us, it's not only working our iman, it's also our the manifestation of our iman in terms of our akhlaq with people. Okay, our akhlaq with Allah, our sincerity with Allah, and then our relationship among each other. Ayah number 102. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته. O believers, be mindful of Allah, have taqwa of Allah, حق تقاته, meaning um, the way Allah deserves, or the right of taqwa, to give the right of taqwa. What is taqwa? First thing, taqwa literally is the consciousness of Allah, to hold oneself to from disobedience of Allah. Another definition of taqwa is to put a barrier between oneself and the displeasure or the punishment of Allah. This is taqwa. Okay, so no iman, there's iman is not complete without taqwa, and taqwa and iman are in a person's heart. Taqwa is to be conscious of Allah in all times, whether a person is in front of people, a person is in private, a person is their state of heart doesn't change based on who they're around or what they're around. Okay, of course a person gets more energized and motivated when they're in the gatherings of the Quran, but taqwa is when they're in private, they also are conscious of Allah, because Allah is with the person at all times, right? Haqqa tuqatihi. Okay, so Allah is saying taqwa is the component that removes enmity between people. When a person, people are having a conflict, and this is something that happens every day of our life, right? Either with conflict doesn't mean has to be a upfront fight. It could be just feelings of the heart for another person. And shaitan wants to divide people, create negative assumptions about people. And in our deen, we give and excuse 50 excuses for a person before we think. So, for example, even small things like someone doesn't show up to class, so automatically, some other people start thinking, or a person starts thinking, this person is just lazy. This person just doesn't care. Or doesn't person want to learn the Quran? No, you give them benefit of the doubt that perhaps they might be in something. They might be in stuck in an emergency or something important that they had to really take a look at, or something, or they're sick, or it could be something, right? But first thing a human mind jumps to is negative assumptions, and shaitan works best with them. So how can a person not have that? Is when they have the taqwa of Allah. And I think, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why should I dirty my heart with bad assumptions about someone? So unless a person has a great goal or a benefit in front of them, they cannot leave. And the greater goal is the akhirah. They cannot leave something like that previous hadith we did, that there is when they think about their house in Jannah, then even if they are very offended, they were they were really humiliated, they still let go, they still forgive. So they let, and حق تقاته, and حق تقاته, Allah is saying have so much taqwa. Like, can we ever give the right of Allah? It's not possible, right? So Allah is telling us to have so much taqwa, like as if you're going to give the right of taqwa, but you will not be able to give the right of taqwa or in the way that he deserves. Meaning, keep developing taqwa more and more and more. Okay? And the next part of the ayah, very important, very shaking. وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ, and do not die except in the state of وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ, do not die except in the state of being a Muslim, the one who submits to him. Why is this mentioned? Because a person may live a pious life, but in their last moments they get deviated at the hands of their own desires, their nafs, shaitan. and a person will be raised in the state that they die. Okay, so here, what are we being reminded is that, you know, shaitan, shaitan is a person's open enemy. Internally, it's the nafs. Okay, and a person is surrounded by two enemies. They're nafs and shaitan. And shaitan also works on the nafs of them. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that do not become heedless and careless. A person needs to live a conscious life until the end, alert, understand their enemy. Okay, and your identity as a Muslim, and you will be among those, and to be among those who are conscious of Allah, who have taqwa of Allah until the very end. And basically, how the first part and the second part of the ayah is connected: if you have taqwa, you would die as someone who is a Muslim in the state of submission to Him. Right? There's uh, uh, a very scary hadith that a person, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person may do the deeds of a people of paradise as it appears to others, while he's actually one of the people of the hellfire. And a person may do the deeds of the people of the hellfire as appear to other, while he's actually one of the people of paradise. Okay, another hadith, a similar narration. A man may perform the deeds of the people of paradise as it appears to people, until there is only an arm's length between him and it, but what has been written overtakes him, and he does the deeds of the people of hell and enters it. And a man may perform the deeds of people of hell as appears to people until there's an arm's length between him and it, meaning the hellfire, but what has been written overtakes him, and he does the deeds of the people of paradise and enters it. Okay, so meaning a person should never be fooled by their own actions, right? And the best way is to think that you're not doing enough, right? When a person starts thinking, oh, I'm doing all good, that is also problematic. And a person should keep evaluating. This is why, even after learning, a person should, even after completing a course or something, there's never end to learning. A person should, every week, should be filled with Quran. And there is no replacement, because Quran is a reminder. It's a dhikr, it is an advice, right? It's the one that brings, shakes up the heart and brings reality in front of a person. So, and Quran is not equivalent to any course or thing, or of the world that we do, and we have the knowledge of it, and that's it, we close the book, right? And there's no other action, there's no other gathering that is going to remind. Yes, other, we should definitely, when we are learning the Quran, we should serve the deen, but only serving the deen and only volunteering without learning the Quran, then how will that action be pure? How will that action be only for the sake of Allah? This is why Allah is reminding. How will the taqwa develop? A lot of the people are very much into volunteering and these actions, but they're not really. So these two things go hand in hand, right? Learning the Quran, working on one's iman, strengthening one's taqwa, and also actions as well. A person should just not learn and not do anything. That means the learning is, the iman needs to manifest into actions. But only doing actions and not, or you're thinking in your head, I'm doing this, I'm supporting the deen, I'm doing this. But you're not learning the Quran. How will these actions be pure? You have to purify your actions. You always ask for Allah's forgiveness. Right, so here it's very important that one has to be aware of the kind of end, what kind of end we want. This ayah talks about khatima bil khair, the good end of a person. Okay, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever would love to be delivered from the hellfire and admitted into paradise, let him meet his end with faith in Allah and the last day, in a state of iman as a Muslim. And let him treat people as he would love to be treated. So two things, our relation with Allah, and then our relation with people. And they both, go hand in hand. Okay, firstly with Allah and then with people. Yusuf alayhi salam, when he got everything, and at the end of Surah Yusuf, it's mentioned, ayah number 101. Yusuf alayhi salam said that توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين. Okay, oh Allah, allow me to die as one who submits and join me among the righteous. Even the prophets were worried about a righteous ending, right? And it is also important that what is external versus what is internal. Externally, a person could be doing all these actions, but internally, it's not for Allah or there's no taqwa, right? For example, Lut alayhi salam's wife was a Muslim on the outside, right? She was among the Muslim because it mentioned in the Quran there was a house in the entire town. Everyone was disbelieving except one house, which was the family of Lut alayhi salam. So they were Muslim, but she inside her heart did not have taqwa, which led her to do khiyana, meaning to led her to uh, be insincere with Allah, insincerity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about her, كانت من الغابرين. She was among those who were destroyed, turned to dust. Okay, so again, we should all make this dua that, oh Allah, make us die in the state of a Muslim and be conscious every time you're doing anything. Right? Live a life of alertness and consciousness. But imagine, when a person is in a war zone or in a state of alert or something is high alert. Can you sleep peacefully? Can you, if for example, there's an enemy at lose, or there's a lot of what does a person do? They're very alert. They try to lock up everything they do, so they can't sleep peacefully. This is how we have to spend life in this dunya, that our enemy is on loose, and then we have to alert, and every time we fall back, then we have the Quran and we have the people around us. That's why righteous company is so important. We have the people around us who pull us back into, who check up on us, hey, why didn't you show up to the class today? Hey, is everything okay with you? And we should be ones, if we have friends and people, and and those who are not showing up, check up on them. This is our duty, right? And these ayat are reminding us of that. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, number 103, that hold onto the rope of Allah and strongly. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and do not be divided. Okay, what is the rope of Allah? The Quran and the Sunnah. The Quran. Okay, and here Allah subhanahu is saying that do not become divided. Meaning, what is that thing that unites people? The greatest thing, the strongest thing, the strongest foundation of love is the love and friendship for the sake of Allah. Okay, وَأَعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. So number one, Quran is the one that is going to understand. The Quran is going to hold the people together. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, do not be divided. And for especially, if in our life we see through manifestation of different things in our deen, that this concept of unity is there. Like all the actions, for example, men have to pray salah in jama'ah, right, 5 times a day, every day. If you think about it, why like you have to go to the masjid and pray 5 times, and 5 times a day? It's not easy. But what does it do? When you show up, you meet each other, you stand with each other, and that increases unity. That increases love between people. Increasing in salam. Why salam has so much value. In fact, saying salam is one of the ways of entering Jannah. Afshu salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "By whom in whose hand my soul is," meaning he took an oath, you will never enter Jannah until you believe, until you have iman, and you should not believe until you love each other. May I inform you of something? If you do and you love each other, promote greeting amongst yourself, meaning saying salam. Afshu salama bainakum. meaning just saying salam. Think about it. How is salam, saying salam, an act of entering Jannah? We think we have to climb mountains to enter Jannah. Well, something as simple as saying salam. Because when you initiate in salam, what happens? First thing, just ponder over the salam itself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You say assalam, peace be upon you. Okay, wa rahmatullah, and the mercy of Allah upon you. So not just peace, mercy of Allah. Mercy is what? Allah's mercy in the Quran is described as Jannah, right? Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and his barakah. Okay, so how beautiful. And we're like, hey, hello, hi. Like, how does it even, like, how is that even equivalent to saying salam? Or we're so hesitant outside to say salam that, we resort to, hey, hi, what you doing? What's up? What is this? What kind of greeting is it? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us, this is not even Islamic greeting. It's a way of entering Jannah. Because when a person says salam to another person, initiates, they free their heart, meaning you are free. When I say salam to you, you're free from any evil coming from me. You're free from me. And you're giving dua to another person. So what is this act doing? When you just say, think about it, when you just go and you greet a stranger salam, automatically you develop, this person's a stranger, you don't know them. This sister is someone you don't have never seen. You say salam to her, and automatically you feel good about them. You have nice feelings for them, right? And if you mean it, right? And when you're meaning and saying salam, meaning even someone that you had a previous negative experience with, but you're saying you really mean it, you say salam, that itself is a way of clearing the heart. And sahabas would initiate in salam. Okay, inshallah, bismillah, this we will continue. This is more to this ayah. We will stop here, and we'll continue this ayah in our next class, ayah number 103. Just a quick reminder, inshallah, from next week is the start of our second module, which is a foundation of Deen, our course that we are doing, and we're doing Surah Yasin. And in the second module, we'll be doing the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The beginning part of it is the Meccan, some part of the Meccan era of his life. That we'll be learning again the course that we have, the program that we have from Al Fat, which is the Foundations of Deen. It's a module based course, so different modules are there, and you can join in any module. And the second we're coming to the end of our first module this Friday. It happens every Friday from 6:30 to 8:30 for brothers and sisters in person. It's an in-person course. So, and we were learning different things. So the previous, or the one that is coming to an end, was also Surah Yasin part 1, the tafsir of it. Plus, we were learning the ahadith of Rasulullah. So his hadith, and they were very short. And these hadiths, the idea was to, number one, memorize these short hadiths, and number two is to understand and implement and bring into our lives. Very short but very powerful. So from next week, we'll be doing, continuing Surah Yasin, and doing the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please do join if you're not a part of, if you're thinking of signing up for a course. This is just 2 hours in the week, every Friday, and again, you'll be in the gatherings of each other, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is constantly, these ayat are telling us to hold on to the Quran, to hold on to the Quran. Quran is number one. Don't think of other things. I'll do this, I'll read this book, I'll do this. I might do not do, hold on to, make sure, and wherever it is, from wherever it is, make sure you're learning it and understanding the Quran, number one. Okay, and all actions come secondary after that. And then what is emphasized in these ayahs, and being with each other. So how will human beings are social beings? We need to be with each other, learn with each other. What are the two ways to strengthen our iman from our this class? Quran and Sahibul Quran. People, Quran, and being in the gatherings of the Quran. So please do join. If you can post the link in the chat box, Foundation of Deen. and you can join our upcoming thing. It's on our website, alfatinstitute.com/foundations. The link is posted in the chat, and you will not be missing out. So this is a new module. Surah Yasin does continue, but again, it's a Makki surah, and it's, it has different themes in it. So you're not, even if you have skipped that part, a few ayat that we're covering until 35, and we have until 83. So we have big chunk to cover in the next module. And again, the Quran is such that every ayah that you learn, or even sometimes half the ayah that you learn, it's something different from what you learned previously. Okay, so please don't think that you've missed out. In fact, think of all the things that inshallah bismillah, the gems that we will uncover from this beautiful ayah, from this beautiful surah, Surah Yasin. Right, we will end our class here. Before that, please, if people can unmute themselves and share reflections from today's class.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
I think an important lesson to take from the ayahs of today is the importance of when you see like two believers fighting, or if you see two people fighting, or like even within your own family, like if you see like your two siblings fighting, it's really important to make sure that we like it becomes our problem and we try and make sure that they no longer fight. Because as we see, like equality.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, voice got cut. But barakallahu feek. Yes, so from this, and also do not never entertain negative talk, and do not be of those who start negative talk. Don't even remind people of their past, negative past, or negative past between two people. This is so common. We sit in gatherings and we start and we bicker, and this is firstly backbiting. Then it comes, sometimes it goes into slanders, things that are not even true. But this is why backbiting is a major sin. It does so much harm to people and their reputation, and in general, even just igniting, e- one should not even ignite in their hearts and then ignite between people as well, any negative feelings and thoughts. This is from shaitan. Anything, anyone else would like to share?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
I found it very like enlightening when you mentioned the hadith about how maybe in front of other people we seem to be doing a lot of good for Islam, like volunteering in different places or attending classes or something like that. But it's important to have that reflection point of number one, what is your intention of doing all of this? And number two, like staying connected with Quran and also your salah, like both of those should not be sacrificed in just because you're doing like khidmah for other people. You should first focus on your own relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then serve others.
Yes, barakallahu feek. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, Sister Khadija, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
So,
salam wa rahmatullahi
it's Shumala. I'm using Khadija's Zoom. The best part, it was beautifully done. The thing is, ikhlas to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is, taqwa. That if we remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there all the time and we are being, not only assessed, but that remembrance of His presence makes us vigilant for any of these things that we are going to be doing, whether it is salah, whether it is, talking about others or going into negativity, because then our connection gets stronger if we don't indulge in any of these things. So the ikhlas is a very important thing for having the taqwa.
Barakallahu feek. Jazakallah khair, Sister Noreen. So good to hear from you. Jazakallah khair. Anyone else would like to share? All right, sisters, inshallah, bismillah, we will end our class here. Please keep in mind about the Friday course that we have. From next week is our next new module. So if you haven't joined, please do join. The link is in the chat box. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all people of taqwa, people who unite hearts together for His sake, and make us all leave this world as in a state of, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُم مُسْلِمُونَ, in the state of a Muslim, the one who is, so live a life, a conscious life, an alert life, right? Inshallah, bismillah, ameen. We'll end here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.